Australia today just got into a whole new world of pain. Our stock market today crashed and really crashed, even worse than before. Dropped 7.3% just today. That is huge. That's the biggest one-day fall since the global financial crisis back in 2008. $150 billion of value wiped out in one day. And over the past 3 weeks, it's nearly $500 billion that's gone. But Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said there was no reason to panic.
Well, market volatility in terms of equity markets is not uncommon at times like this. But our financial system remains strong, our economy remains strong. This is a very different situation to what we saw through the GFC, which was essentially a problem with the banking and the financial system and issues of liquidity. We haven't seen those same problems in relation to this health crisis.
I suspect it's right. Now, this latest fall wasn't all because of the coronavirus, not this time. This time it was mostly caused by an oil price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia, something you'd think was actually good news for us because it involves plans to flood the world with cheap oil. I'll talk in a second to a financial expert who's better placed than most, not just to tell you what's going on in the markets, but to understand the panic, since he'll be talking to me from quarantine, self-isolation, thanks to the coronavirus scare. Now, on the coronavirus, it is now critical that people stop exaggerating this because, well, you're seeing more people probably are now going to be hurt by the panic than by the virus itself. And let me be clear, the coronavirus is dangerous, particularly to the elderly and the frail. It's more dangerous than the flu and seems more contagious. Just take Italy. 2 weeks ago, Italy had just 132 confirmed cases. 2 weeks later, it's got more than 7,000 known cases, with 366 people now dead. And the Italian government on the weekend ordered the lockdown of 16 million people in Tuscany and other provinces, a quarter of the population, to stop the virus spreading. But that is, of course, is weeks too late. I mean, people criticise China, its handling of this emergency, but China was much faster in locking down cities. And yesterday reported some success, just 40 new cases. 40. And that's astonishing, if you can believe China's figures. And that should give us hope. And so should South Korea. It was initially hit harder than Italy, much harder. Now it's reporting fewer and fewer cases over the past few days. In Australia, we're doing pretty well too. The death toll is still just 3, all of people aged 78 or older. But yes, the virus does keep spreading, but slowly, to 3 people in our military now, plus 3 students, which has caused 2 schools in New South Wales to be shut down. Yet despite that, here's why I think the panic might be over the top. Consider the father of pop star Missy Higgins. Now, Chris Higgins is a doctor. He flew back from the United States to Melbourne a week ago with what he thought was a mild cold, and he thought he was almost over it. So he went back to work treating patients until he tested himself. He didn't have to, it was only out of almost a paranoia. And yes, coronavirus. Now for that, he was publicly vilified by Victoria's Health Minister, Jenny Mikakos, who said she was flabbergasted that a doctor that she claimed had flu-like symptoms would still go and treat patients. But doctors are defending Higgins. How is he to reasonably think that he had a coronavirus? I mean, such mild symptoms, and from something he caught in America. And Australia's Chief Medical Officer says symptoms that mild or almost non-existent is exactly what 80% of you can expect if you get this.
80% plus of people with this disease have very, very mild disease. People probably thought they just had colds or mild flu-like illness.
And that is why the official death rate seems exaggerated. The World Health Organization, which has been hopeless in all this, it claims that of every 100 people who get the coronavirus, nearly 4 will die. That's frightening. But you would struggle to find any expert who agrees it's that high. And that's because China, where most of the deaths have occurred, did not do widespread tests that included the many people, like Chris Higgins, who just get very mild symptoms or next to none. It just compared those who died to a cohort that was actually quite sick. And here, our health experts think the coronavirus has a death rate actually of about 1 in 100. That's still 10 times worse than the flu, but even that may be too high. You need wider testing of the population to find out people like Chris Higgins, because if Higgins hadn't tested himself, how would we know that he had the coronavirus too? And how many other people are out there with the virus, actually not feeling that sick at all? So, yes, this virus is dangerous. We need to be careful, and particularly around aged care centres and hospitals. But how about we let the experts do the worrying about the medical stuff? And the rest of us, let's worry about what this crazy panic is doing to the economy and what the Morrison government can do now to save us from the recession that Westpac's chief economist today warned we're now going to get.